Okay. Now, here I've talked about this. Before it cuts, actually, I'm supposed to start on ejection of bile. Okay, I've talked about the functions. That is reservoir for bile, concentration, mucus secretion. So, what's the mechanism of or humoral mechanism of secretion of bile? This is our gallbladder. So, a chemical that secretes it's acetylcholine. It's a neurotransmitter released by the vagus nerve at the terminal end. Okay, so parasympathetic stimulation causes the secretion of gallbladder. I mean, of bowel. It causes the contraction of the gallbladder. At the same time, nitric oxide and vasointestinal peptide, we know these are neurotransmitters. They cause they cause what? Relaxation of the sphincter of Oddi. Okay, so now remember that bowel is ejected in pulsatile spats, not in a steady stream like the flow of blood. No, the pulsatile pattern is caused by the rhythmic contraction of the duodenum. So when the duodenum is relaxed and the duodenal pressure is low, that's when bowel is ejected. But when the duodenum is contracting and the duodenal pressure is high, bowel is not ejected against the high pressure in the duodenum. Take note of that principle. Okay. Bowel concentration, it's very important that bowel is concentrated. The epithelial cells of the gallbladder, it absorbs, here it's a gallbladder, it absorbs ions and water in an isoosmotic fashion, which is similar to the isoosmotic reabsorption process in the proximal tubules of the kidneys. Okay, you can see these ions are reabsorbed: sodium, bicarbonate, chloride, and water. Okay. Composition of bile. Bile is mainly water, the bile salts. What should come to your mind when you hear of bile salts? Bile salts, it's bile acids reacting with it. Let me go back. Bile acids reacting with amino acids. They form salts. Bile pigment is usually bilirubin and biliverdin. Cholesterol is cholesterol. Inorganic salts, fatty acids, and all those things. Okay, these I won't waste much time. It's the primary and secondary bile acids from bile salts. So the liver, the liver, yes, it synthesizes bile acids from cholesterol. So we have a bile acid called cholic acid and chenodeoxycholic acid. So in the intestinal epithelium, the intestinal bacteria, we know there are intestinal bacteria. They can convert this cholic acid into secondary bile acids like deoxycholic acid and lithocholic acid. In the liver, again, there is conjugation, addition of some amino acids to these secondary bile acid. We are going to form glycodeoxycholic acid, taurodeoxycholic acid, etc. Okay. So bile salts are more effective detergents than bile acids. That's why we need these salts because of their enhanced amphipathic nature. You remember in biochemistry, amphipathic nature. Therefore, only the conjugated forms, that is the bile salts, are found in the bile. The conjugated forms, the one with amino acids. So individuals with genetic deficiency in conversion of cholesterol into bile acids are treated with exogenously, okay, synthesized chenodeoxycholic acid. So primary and secondary bile acids are made by the liver and intestinal bacteria respectively. So the secondary bile acid is made by the intestinal bacteria, and the primary bile acids are made by the liver. Okay, anatomy of the pancreas. The pancreas is a dual organ having two functions, endocrine function and exocrine function. Okay, here I just want you to show that there's a duct that drains these cells. This is called the pancreatic duct. It meets the common duct, which was coming from the where? From the gallbladder and the pancreas. And the liver, the common duct. Okay. So this is a description of the exocrine pancreas. And then the composition of pancreatic juice. The most important thing is it is rich in bicarbonate content, 150 milliequivalents per liter. Now, what's the function of this pancreas? It is the pancreatic juice. The digestive function of the pancreatic juice plays an important role in the digestion of proteins and lipid. It also has mild digestion action on carbohydrates. Very true. But the most important, it has pancreatic enzymes which digest the proteins and the lipids. The pancreas is also involved in the digestion of proteins because of these enzymes, the trypsin and chymotrypsin. Other proteolytic enzymes are carboxypeptidases, nuclease, elastase, and collagenase. Okay, now let me describe the biliary tree. First and foremost, the biliary tree, it's not that there's a tree in the body, no. The structure is just shaped like a tree, just like the bronchial tree of the respiratory system. So the biliary tract or tree is a system of ducts. Okay, apart from ducts, it's a system of organs, including the liver, gallbladder, and the pancreas, and associated structures that function to produce, they function to store, and secrete and transport bile. So it's just the system through which bile can circulate. Okay, so the biliary tree directs this secretion into the duodenum at an opening called the papilla ovata. Papilla means nipple. Okay, structured like a nipple. So this is our biliary tree. It's a system of ducts, right hepatic, left hepatic. It's a system of organs, the gallbladder there, the pancreas there, and the liver there, and other associated structures. Their function is to store or to produce. For example, bile is produced by the liver. It is stored in the gallbladder. It is transported through the cystic ducts. Okay, that is called the biliary system. Okay, this is the same structure. I'm showing you these two diagrams so that you should be able to draw this from memory. Very important. Now the biliary system, let me talk a bit of some physiology here. How does bile actually circulates? Number one here, the constituents of bile are continuously being secreted. We remember that cholesterol is involved in the production of the bile salts. Okay, the liver is doing the synthesis of the bile salts. This is a topic on its own. We need to go into a bit of biochemistry. Number two, what's happening there? There is bile flows out of the liver and fills the gallbladder. It is stored there. And here there is a concentration of bile. This is for concentration purposes. That is, if you need to store a lot of bile, you need to remove some water and some ions so that you concentrate the bile. Okay, as you can see, SCH, this is acetylcholine. can stimulate the contraction of the gallbladder. CCK can also stimulate the contraction of the gallbladder and relaxation of the sphincter of Oddi. Number three, what's happening? CCK is secreted in response to the chyme in the small intestine. The two action of CCK, I've said it causes contraction of the gallbladder and it also causes relaxation of the sphincter of Oddi. Step four, bile salts are absorbed. They go back into the system through the portal circulation. Now, there are four ways these can be absorbed. Other literature, they say three. One of them is diffusion, which is called passive diffusion of bile salts. Remember, bile salts are important organic substances, so we don't want to lose them a lot in the fecal matter. Okay, so one of them is passive diffusion. The other one is secondary active transport through what we call the sodium bile salt carriers, sodium bile salt carriers, just like sodium glucose transporters, sodium amino acid transporters. There's also sodium bile salts carriers. Again, there is a passive reabsorption of secondary bile acids. It can occur, although litholic acid is very poorly absorbed. Number three, there is deconjugation of bile salts to bile acids by bacteria in the terminal ileum. Okay, so actually it's three mechanisms. Okay, the deconjugation of bile salts so that they can into acids so that they can easily be absorbed by the system. Okay, so this is the biliary system. Okay, it's a system of ducts, organs, and associated structures that function in the production, storage, secretion, and transportation of bile. Now, what disorders affect the gallbladder? First and foremost, it's important to know that in the absence of bile, fat digestion does not take place. Okay? Hence, fats will be excreted in feces, resulting in a condition called steatorrhea. So, what are these abnormalities? I'm just itemizing them so that when we go into pathology, you should still be familiar. So, there will be congenital anomalies of the gallbladder. These are disorders present at birth. That's why it means congenital. There can be absence of the cystic duct, or there can be anomalies in blood supply to the gallbladder. We know it's supplied by the cystic artery. Okay. The other disorders is gallstones disease. We know stones in the gallbladder can occur. These stones are composed of cholesterol, bile pigments, and calcium salts. So they can block the biliary system. They can also be acute cholecystitis. When you hear the word cystitis, this is inflammation, which is caused by bacteria. There can also be chronic cholecystitis, that is a recurrent attack of cholecystitis. Okay. And then there's obstructive jaundice. This is a specific type of jaundice where symptoms develop due to a narrowed or blocked bile duct. So let me talk about jaundice. That is now part three.